So, becoming a business owner is challenging. There's things there that you don't even realize that are going to be concerns or what you're going to have to do and all of those types of things. So, our next guest is going to share with us some things that you should think about and be aware of as you jump into being an entrepreneur.
Building spirituality, family, health, and business. This is The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.
So, welcome, Giant Builders. I'm so glad you're here. Today's guest is Mosongo Moukwa. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great, Lois. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, thank you for being here. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes, my name is Mosongo Moukwa. Many small business owners, they are looking great on paper. Revenues are solid, but they have this persistent feeling of stagnation. And what has happened is that they have been actually in a box. That the design of their business is really not what they need at that particular time. So what I do is that I help them have clarity, and then have them then focus on improving their revenue, but most of all, to really build the life that that business was meant to support. So that's what I do.
Wow. So, how did you come to do what you do?
Yes. This is a good question, Lois. I work in corporate for a number of years at a senior role. Actually, I reached the apex of my career at corporate, and I was pulled between corporate life and entrepreneurship. So on one hand, chasing security while really craving meaning. So on the outside, things looks good. A stable role, clear expectation. I could have stayed comfortable, safe, but building someone else's dream, frankly. And then slowly something became impossible for me to ignore. The issue really, Lois, was not corporate life, and it was not lack of ambition. It was that I was building inside a design that no longer fit what I was becoming. So eventually I broke free from those golden shackles, and I jumped into entrepreneurship without really knowing if, with no roadmap, no GPS, and I hit the ground, at least in the beginning. And so I failed in my first ventures. I burned through savings. I really hit near bottom emotionally and financially. I felt lonely. I felt lost. And to tell you honestly, at that moment I questioned everything. Yeah? I questioned everything, including myself. And there is a line from Mandela that says that courage is not absence of fear, but the triumph over it. So I let that sink, because fear really does not disappear. In fact, as an entrepreneur, it grows because you have to look for leads, you have invoices, and so on. But the courage is really moving even when the ground is shaky. So, but I also realize that courage is not alone is not enough, because you could be this brave person moving, but moving in the wrong direction. So instead of chasing confidence, I began to chase clarity. So I reached out to other entrepreneurs to learn about what they are doing. I listened. I paid attention to customers, what was the value of them, what to drain them, and then what kind of business that could support the life I wanted. So slowly I began to redesign my activities, because I realized then you have the courage, you have the direction, but all of that does not create the momentum. So because you could do a lot of activities and still it doesn't move the needle. So then I began now to design intentionally how my business would make money, how I should price it, how I should focus, who will be the customers, and so on. So that's what really I did. What I teach today my client is that you need the three things. You need to reignite your purpose. You need then to focus on your business strategies, and then you need to sustain that performance. So that's what I teach.
So many things just jumped out at me as you were talking. It's like, first off, I think that a huge percentage of entrepreneurs are like that. They're like, I'm tired of building a business for somebody else, and they jump in both feet, not knowing what they're doing. And I think it's a reality once you do that, that you're wearing so many hats.
Yes.
You're you're the bookkeeper, you're the bathroom cleaner, you're
Yes, yes, yes.
everything. And so it just is I think it's a little overwhelming when people make that decision. But then
Yes,
also what you said is like finding a mentor, somebody who can give you advice and
yes,
a coach or something of that
yes,
nature
yes,
is
yes,
just a really great way to, you can't make all the mistakes and learn from them. So if you could find somebody who made some of those mistakes and learn from
yes,
them,
yes,
you could
yes.
project yourself so much quicker.
Yes, 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 and that was my case. I did that. I joined a local group here, which was the Center for Entrepreneurship. I met great entrepreneurs there. Just listening to them, they used to have great speakers. I did that. I began now to travel and see what am I actually offering to the people. You have to have a product and market fit. So what are they really valuing? And so on. So, and then slowly, opportunity began to open. Then you have a one win, then another win, and so on. And then things began to start turning around, and it began to feel good actually when you say, "Oh man, I have this check here. I don't need to pull out of so I don't need to pull from my savings anymore." Yeah. So yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So what do you think are some of the largest challenges that entrepreneurs face, and how are some ways that you help them solve those?
Yeah, this is a great question, Lois. I mean, what business owners they're looking for is what? They're looking for financial independence.
Mm.
They're looking to leave a legacy for their children and spend time with loved ones. The reality is that they're not achieving those. They keep working, but there are so many factors at play. Huh? You are overwhelmed with cash flow, competition, employee turnover. In fact, there is one business here that me and other colleagues we run. Our top process engineer just quit, so that brings another stress there and whatnot. So then you feel that stagnation, which I find in many of the business owners, even those who appear to be successful, they just feel like they have stalled. And but that stagnation is only a symptom of something else, because in reality they're dealing with psychological challenges, and those pains are multiple actually. So then what happens is that you have that fear of failure that start to set in. You become conservative. Self-doubt sets in, and many small business owners they struggle with that feeling, questioning everything, including themselves. And I did that in the past. They don't want to take time off because they're afraid if I leave or I take time off, that's going to harm the business. But also then the lack of clarity and focus began also to set in. We all know that if you without clarity and focus, it's very difficult to achieve any long-term goal. And then you have isolation, and that feeling of lack of support. Because running business, small business, can be a lonely proposition. You feel isolated in your struggle, and then what that leads to emotional exhaustion and the lack of motivation. So those pains are there, the stress, the anxiety, the burnout, family strain, because that could strain the relationship with the loved ones, which is actually a contradiction with the goal of spending time with family. And then sometimes you have that loss of passion, and then over time all of that beginning to accumulate, and then it erodes your initial passion. So that's what happened. So these are some of the challenges there.
Yeah, it's kind of a reality shake when you trade a 40-hour work week for a 70-hour work week so you can work on your
Yes,
own. Like, where's
yes,
that time freedom?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so what would you say are some opportunities that exist for businesses right now?
Yeah, I mean the opportunities are multiple. Certainly, first of all, you need to be clear. What I always tell the people: go back to why you started this business. Why did you start it? Your why, and and who are you actually trying to serve? So what I try to do is first of all to make them aware that they have been settling with something they are not happy about. We try to bring that to the surface. Now the opportunity really comes in terms of focus. What I've realized is that our priority gets a bit diluted over time. We begin to chase every single opportunity. We're beginning to to solve every issue that is there. So I tell the people, let's look at the 80-20. Because in reality, 80% of your revenue only comes from 20% of what you do every day in your business. And then within that 20%, you have to look at leads, you have to look at frequency of sales, you have to look at retention, you have to look at how you're charging, you have to look at price. So if you beginning to look at that, then things become somewhat clear. Then you realize actually by focusing on that 20% that is driving business, you're actually reclaiming your time. Because as you're focusing on that 20%, that means you have to let go some of the things you're doing in that 80%. Obviously, a few things that we need to do, like filing for taxes. Nobody enjoys doing that, but it needs to be done. But there are certain things that perhaps does not need to be done. So focus. Who are your 20% top customers? If these are the one, who are the one that bringing value, see value in your products? Those are the one that you need to focus. What are those activities that's actually going to drive your leads? No, not all of them. Even your suppliers. Who are those suppliers that you really want to continue to work with? Not all of them, are probably the one that you want to work with. Who are the one, the 20% there that you want to spend time? So once you begin to look at your business that way, then you begin now to focus, to streamline your operations and so on. And you also have to look at you yourself. Where are you spending your time? You don't need to be on every floor on a manufacturing site sweeping the floor. Every issue there, if you're a plumber, you want to jump in there when you have those junior plumbers who can deal with it. So you can also free your time. Then now it allows you not only to focus on your business, but also to focus on your time, relationships, building leadership capabilities in your companies, and so on.
Great. So tell me, what is unique about your coaching?
Yeah, what is unique about my coaching is that I try to bring different elements because what I try to do, Lois, is this is a great question, by the way. It's I want the owner as they're working with me to have that connection with the spirit of their business. Because what I try to do is integrate every aspect of their life, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the social, the environment, into a holistic framework. Because my belief is that true success is not just about hitting the financial target or getting more market share, but it's really about creating extraordinary results that also improve the quality of life for you and for those around you. So when I work with clients, I focus on building that deep emotional and spiritual connection between them and their work. I find that when business owners truly connect with the spirit of their business and their team, then that opens up the potential for incredible performance and meaningful change. And that connection is crucial. It's crucial because it drives motivation and passion, which are really the real engines of any successful business.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, tell me about your book.
Yeah. My first book is called Be a Leader of Significance. The idea there is that I'm encouraging leaders and managers to focus on a kind of leadership that is based on human connection,
Mm.
as opposed to a leadership that is transactional. When I started my career, I was reporting to a chief operating officer, and when I went to see him and asking him, "Hey, I'm running this department. What are your expectations for me?" and so on, and he told me, he said, "My expectations is simple. You scratch my back, I scratch yours." So you could not find a transactional kind of interaction like that was. So that stayed in my mind, and when I left his office, I said, this is not leadership here. I expected something else.
Mm.
So for us as a leader, first of all, leadership is not a solo venture. Leadership would mean that you need to develop the people who are around you, provide them the opportunity, and then for you to be able to really create effective organizations, then you really need to have that connection with your people, understanding how they think and so on. Because what employees they are looking for, they are looking for number one, that sense of affiliation. So that's what they're looking for. Number two, they're looking for what they call psychological safety. A space where they can express themselves. So that, and then thirdly, They're looking to be valued. And for somebody to be valued, it's not necessarily, well, let's give him another paycheck. A small gesture. I remember this person many years ago who told me, and at the time I did not realize. He said, Mosongo, that time when he told me, hey, John, I have not forgotten you. I know I've not spoken to you for a long time, but I did not forget you. He told me maybe a year later that that comment meant a lot to him because he felt he was valued. He felt that he was participating in something that was much bigger than him. So value, it's not just monetary. So what I'm advocating in the book is that this is the types of leadership that we need to be employing, as we are leading teams or organizations.
Well, that's great. All right. Well, I'm going to have Sango's contact information below, and a link to his book will be below and in our media tab. So make sure you check that out. So, any closing thoughts?
Yes, yes. No, this is great having me here, working with me. And for those small business owners who are who are listening there, Lois, what I'm also planning to do in the coming months, and hopefully we can run it for a long time. I'm creating a mastermind program. So
Oh,
this will be a group of committed small business owners who will get together trying to solve business challenges by counting on the wisdom of the collective with my coaching and facilitation so that they could not only improve their businesses but also to lead with confidence. So that's something that I'm hoping to create that community there. And I'll start in the coming months to beginning to see if there are some people be interested in working with me, helping me shape that mastermind so that we can carry that up it's going to be for 6 months, and then we can take another court and so on. So that's something coming up there.
no, that's
But
wonderful.
I'd love to see many of the small business owners who are listening out there to join me. There will be one session soon coming that will be somewhat of free, just to give you a feel of what that mastermind will be. So we'll be running that on a regular basis in the months to come.
All right. Well, we'll have a link to that below too. All
Yes,
right. I'll,
yes,
I'll put that in a bolder concept so you guys can make sure you see that. So that
yes,
sounds like a great concept. I would be very interested in something like that.
yes, yes, yes.
So, well, Mozango, thank you so much for your time and
No,
sharing your
thank you,
wisdom.
thank you. It was a great pleasure having a conversation with you. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Well, I am grateful too. All right, Giant Builders, we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.